don't get me wrong. Like, I love helping the environment. Yeah. I don't care that much. And I was like,
more like, I get to have the ability to share my knowledge, to share what I know, and help people in any which way.
I wish we did come with little tags. Yeah, this is your life.
Kind of like, have you seen Jumanji, where like each character has their strengths?
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like, my weakness is cake.
Yes, exactly. That would be so cool.
Okay, so the topic is finding your purpose.
Yeah, why did we pick this one?
Why not?
Why not pick it?
Okay, you guys, it's just, starting a conversation. Didn't help.
We've been talking about business, we're talking about networking, and now we're trying to figure out the reason why we do the shit that we do.
I don't know. I feel like there's too much energy going into, like, if you're not passionate about something, like, stop it. Like, I interviewed someone the other day, and I had kind of noticed on her resume, it was like a couple months here, a couple months there, a couple months here.
Oh, like different positions? Mm-hmm. That's always fun to see.
And so I asked her about it, and I was like, how come? Like, how come you've moved? I've noticed you've kind of moved. What makes me think you're going to be committed to this position?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, seriously was like, I just wasn't passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you noticed that after 3 months with a company.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah, I just was not passionate. Like, it just wasn't my vibe. And I was like, one done.
What kind of jobs were they, by the way? Do you remember?
Her last one, she was working with a nonprofit that helped the environment. And she goes,
she hates the environment.
Well, she was like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love helping the environment. Yeah. I don't care that much. And I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, okay, I totally get it. Sometimes you're just not feeling it. And she was like, it's just not my vibe.
Yeah.
That was the one that thought she was getting brought back.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Well, it means you did a good interview, right?
The amount of times I said, if you are selected, you will be receiving an email. So we are going to discuss with our recruiters at the end of the day. And again, if you are selected, you will be receiving an email. So look out for your emails.
Yeah.
And she thought she was brought back.
That's funny.
Anyways, so I just think that there is, and I think it's what's the word? I think that people are so quick to say that the new generation is this way, but I feel like there's still people that are older than me, our generation, that have that sense of, I'm not passionate about it, so I'm not going to give it 100%, which I think kind of fell into that, like, quiet quitting and all that stupidity. So I think that's why maybe that was a good topic to talk about. Yeah. Because so many people just think that you should be passionate about something that you immediately get into. And I don't think any of us were ever passionate right off, from the get-go about what we started in this business with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely was not passionate about it when I first started. Because it was hard. And I've shared with you guys the story about me and my best friend, like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. But, worked through it. And yeah, thank God I did. But it's true. It's like, you're not going to like everything. And even if you do, right? Even if you do find yourself being passionate about something, there is still going to be moments where you're not going to be passionate about that.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, do you ever feel like that, Molly, because I know you love, teaching, and you've talked about it all the time. Like, if I could do this, just this, I would do it.
Yeah.
But have there been moments where you don't feel so passionate about it? Or like moments where you're like, maybe you don't have the energy to, or what's that been like? Because you work your passion, like you work that.
Thanks for asking that question. I don't.
She's like, no, I love it.
I loved it from the get-go.
I really did actually love it from the get-go. I'm going to talk about yoga really quickly.
She can leave now.
Because I knew going into it, I wanted to teach. Yeah. Because as I started getting my certification, especially for yoga, there were students that they just went for education. They just wanted to learn a little bit more about the history of yoga, what it was about, what it benefited, like what the benefits were. And I went into it knowing exactly that I wanted to teach. And so even until now, like someone will ask me like, oh, so how long have you been teaching? I'm like, dude, I've been teaching like for 7 years with that. And for me, I feel like that went so quickly because I think it was like 2015 is when I had gotten my certification. You came out to my little graduation or whatever.
That's when I started. There's no way.
Yeah.
8 years ago?
It was a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And I started teaching right from the get-go, and I love it. And it's crazy because I think about it still till this day because I technically do work 7 days a week. And I still have a passion for like waking up in the morning maybe it's not passion, maybe it's just discipline at this point.
Yeah.
But I wake up every morning, get into my classes, teach like multiple classes on the weekend and like throughout the week as well. And I don't think with itself as far as like yoga, it's more of just the motivation to help people. So it's not just like, hey, I'm teaching. Like it's more like I get to have the ability to share my knowledge, to share what I know and help people in any which way. Because people come into yoga in different paths of their lives. And I realize that. And the best feeling I get, especially in yoga, is at the end of the class. When I have everyone at the end of the end, like it's called Shavasana or final resting pose.
Yeah. It's my favorite.
And lately I'm actually incorporating Reiki with my sessions, and people come up to me right after and they're like, wow, that was an amazing session. Like I went through or had clarity in this project that I was working with. That's or cool. Something along those lines, or they're starting to finally start to see and visualize colors and or visualize things. And to me, I'm like, wow, I absolutely love that feeling because I feel like I'm helping them unlock whatever they're going through. And so I don't know, I really wish, I know that one day in my life, I even tell Charles this, I'm like, I'm going to be 100% teaching one day. Like that is where I want to be. And I know that at this moment in my lifetime, this is as far as marketing goes and design and whatnot, this is like a stepping stone so I can at least do that in the future because I love teaching. I love teaching so much. And I do find a lot of purpose with that. If I switch down to like what I do on a day-to-day, it sometimes, the hard part for that is even though I love design, I feel like since I never really got full training with it, I have like the worst imposter syndrome. Like I still face that till this day because it's like, no, I didn't go to school for it. No, I didn't like get my degree in it. It's just more like, hey, I have to find my way through it. And I kid you not, I reflect on it this morning like, my purpose. Well, I love teaching, but I'm in this as far as marketing goes. Like, who am I?
Yeah. But I think that there's a lot of people like that. Like not everybody comes into this planet knowing exactly what their purpose is, or it might even take time for them to stumble upon what they're passionate about, which is crazy. I wish we did come with little tags. This is your life
kind of like, have you seen Jumanji where like each character has their strengths and my weakness is cake.
Yes, exactly. That would be so cool. Yeah.
Jumanji?
Like have you seen it?
The new one, not the old one.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the new one.
The new one's I think it's so well written. Sorry to digress, but I think that for what Jumanji the original was, because I love that one, they did pretty good with the newer one.
Okay,
it wasn't
more
like
a modern take on
and they
it.
have great actors, Kevin Hart and The Rock. So
wow, I haven't seen the one. Anyway,
it's good.
I digress.
I think the closest to that per se would be all of the disc profiles or like things like that, because that makes me think about like the Enneagram or disc. And I think that those things, if you're aware of which one is yours, it's kind of easier to figure out or know exactly where you should be dabbling and to figure out what that purpose is or where your passion lies.
Yeah.
So,
but there was something that you did mention as you were explaining how you were like, I was passionate. And then you go, actually, that's discipline now. So I think that it's not necessarily the act of being a yoga instructor, but also understanding your why behind it. So you're like, I love and I'm passionate about helping other people. And then getting up in the morning, that's now a habit. That's not necessarily like, I'm getting out of bed because I'm passionate about helping people. It's just like you've created those habits that help and end result helping people with yoga. So I think that that's maybe something that is also missed, that people don't realize their why for why they're passionate. They just think like, I should be passionate about being an accountant and I should be passionate about being an operations manager. It's like, yes, but that's not the why behind it. Like, for example, what is your why with recruiting? It's to be able to build and grow this organization as well as give other people the same opportunity that we are given here. You know, so it's like, I'm passionate about that. I'm not passionate about, I'm a recruiter. Like that, I think is so
making phone calls.
Making phone calls.
Well, 100 every day.
Well, I think that the role itself serves more so like a vehicle, because even going beyond the whole building an organization and growing our team, I think for me, the piece where I find passion and purpose is with the individuals that I work with, and seeing too that we recruit a lot of entry level candidates, people that are developing their skills, like whether it's for sales or even for our internal departments. I love being able to coach and train somebody on recruiting, but I think that the challenges that come with recruiting, making sure that you're on your A game so that you can show up to do a job well done, is the part that I enjoy the most, is just seeing everybody's, you know, those who do take it serious, right? They take their job serious. Like just them working on themselves, you know, working on themselves so that they can do their job well. That part I love, because so much, like many of the calls that we run, like personal development, I think that's like, to me, that's where I find the passion. It's just the job itself. It's just the vehicle, because you could do this in anything. Because I remember even for me,
100%.
Yeah, like when I started dancing, I saw a lot of the similarities between the discipline required to show up, do a job well done, and the discipline it requires to practice and to show up. And then even with performance too, I talk about this all of the time, where when we're public speaking, you know, you have when we've talked about this with our recordings for YouTube, where it's like, oh, I messed up, but it's like, nobody can tell. Same thing with dance. You're on stage and it's like, nobody can really tell, but it's all of the internal talk that happens. It happens in different circles. And I love that. I feel like a lot of those things they overlap. And I think that's a part that I just love, because it could be recruiting, it could be dancing, it could be whatever, but you start to see the patterns of, no, all of these things overlap. It requires you to have self-discipline, continuously be developing yourself, pushing yourself, challenging yourself, stepping out of your comfort zone. That's the part that...
It's the little things that make up the big thing.
Yeah, it's like the day-to-day, which is why I'm like, yeah, people might not exactly know what they came in to do, but the day matters, like every single day, because then you either will stumble upon it or realize it, but you've already been doing the work that will allow you to succeed in it. So yeah, to me, it's just seeing the light bulbs go off, just the development piece that I love so much.
Yeah. Because I think that if you come into the business or any business, more times than not, you're entry level, right? And so like, no one's going to be passionate about entry level work because it's just so simple. It's so monotonous. It's so the same thing over and over and over again. But it's like when you start to see those light bulbs go off of, these little things are teaching me how to do the bigger things. But it's, I need to be competent here before I can get to what, you know, that direction to my purpose. But I think that people are just like, I hate doing this. But it's like, you have to realize that these day in and day out, like especially, I mean, and maybe we are the exception, not the rule. But in this business, like, yes, we start everybody entry level, but there's a reason. And we try to tell them and try to explain, like, as soon as you become competent here and you can show us that you're reliable, you can do the work that we're putting in front of you, then we move you on to the next. So it might be different in other companies, but here at least we try to enforce that like vision casting of do the small things over and over and over again, because that is what's going to get you to the next level. Now it could be, you know, you were a recruiter, then you became social media. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm not passionate about, calling and calling and calling, but maybe that's going to give you a route to do something else in the recruiting world. And it's just a matter of being able to see that, so yeah, entry level. Snaps.
Yeah. Have you reflected on what your why currently is?
On what?
So funny because I still have, I don't know why, it's this little memory. When you guys took me to my first Kimmy's and
oh my gosh, Kimmy.
And you guys were sitting across from me and I was like, okay. And you guys were like, what's your why? And I was like, And I will tell you now because I completely bullshitted it, because I was
what did you say? I can't remember.
I said, I just want to be able to give back to my parents, as much as they've given to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's so generic.
Yeah.
And now it's like, not only in doing that reflection on playing big, but seeing yourself in 20 years of what you have, your house, what you look like, and being able to give that to my family, which I know it's still very similar to my original why, but you start to think of those things. Like my parents have given me so freaking much that I want to triple fold that and show them a life that, they've given me a great life. And they're in Spain right now.
Enjoying
their life and going to Portugal. And that's great. And I want to give them that without having to worry about them doing it. I want to give them that. So, yes, I have reflected on my why recently. But yeah, I got goals.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I love that.
What about you, Sandra?
100%. I feel like different stages of life will almost bring different whys. You have to go back, because even with my goals right now, I wrote out my goals for my lifetime goals and then my goals for 2023, and even now going reviewing them, we're halfway through the year. I'm like, I don't really think this one matters anymore. I want to do this or do that.
I'm sure travel has
my goodness.
Come up in the rankings.
Yes, it surely has climbed. Yeah. I'm already prepping for
next year.
Yeah.
So I know. I've told so many people for some reason.
Really? Sandra, she's going to Italy.
Well, because we always talk about traveling within my group, even my family, we're heavy on traveling. And so I explained there's so many people out there that are just what's the point? I can stay here in the States. I'm good. And then I was like, and then so Sandra, I was like, she had her first experience in Europe. And they're like, oh, how was it? And I was like, exactly how you would think.
Yeah.
Once you go there and you start to see things, your mind expands in ways that you never knew. And I was like, and guess what? Next year, this is their plan and this is their plan. And they're like, yeah, that it's the travel bug. You get it.
And you would so get it because I came back. I think I was depressed for 2 weeks. Serious.
You're I can't believe I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back. What do we eat here?
We don't eat pasta.
Yes. Yeah,
it's a bunch of fillers and
sugar.
Crap.
I know, it's so crazy. But yeah, travel has definitely moved up the rankings there. But I feel like my why right now is it's definitely very intrinsic and very normal. Or very normal. What is the world? Yeah, lame. No, that's not the word that I was going for. I have no idea why that
I need
came
a button. Lame.
I know. Yeah, but it's more internal. It's that phase where it's okay, I'm getting older. What is my full purpose, my full why? So there's a lot of reflection that is going on in there. A lot of reflection, a lot of journaling, meditation, all of that. But I know for me, a lot of where I shared with you guys, where I find my passion is just being able to help other people in whatever stage of their life are, wherever they're at. Because I feel we all go through so much, and
you're so good at it though. Yeah,
thank you. Are. I appreciate that. But I think that the things that I go through in my life, they're not just for me, they're for other people, because time and time again, I have, had people share certain things with me. And there's this part of me that I can fully understand what it is that you're going through, or I can kind of feel where you're at. And I'm able to just to help because of the things that I have gone through. And a lot of those things they can, resonate with. And I just love that. I love being able to have that experience and being able to help somebody get out of their hole, or even just shed some light or some wisdom, like even just a little something that will help them just kind of like latch on to have some kind of hope to see themselves out of whatever they're going through. I love that. But when you personally are going through those things, it does not feel good. Like,
no, and
it
you
does
do it
not
so
feel
gracefully,
good.
And I think that that's why you've been so good at being able to coach others, is because when you are in the shit,
no one can tell.
No one can tell, one.
Yeah.
But two, you're fully focused on how to resolve it by reading books.
Oh, yeah.
Watching YouTube videos. Like, you are so in it. And I think that so many people don't do that. And that's why you're so good at being able to help others, because you're like, you acknowledge what is wrong and you work to fix it.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's what separates. Sam, Sir Sandra.
Yeah,
I think that's what separates you from other people, because so
Yeah.
many people can say like, oh yeah, I can totally help you because I've been there. But it's like, did you do the work though? Did you read the books?
Yeah.
Like how you've explained, like, hey, I was jealous at some point. I read a book on jealousy, or just like, oh, I'm having, certain, I don't know, whatever issues. It's like, I read this book. I can help
this
you.
class.
I took this class.
Yeah.
Like, you do all these things that you can apply to it and help others. And
Yeah.
so many people don't do that.
I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of times, you're just going through life, moseying around, and then, it's cool to see like what other people see. So I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, a lot of where I find purpose is being able to just share and being able to help wherever I possibly can. Because at the end of, I think about it, it's like at the end of the day, we're all trying to have like our best day, like our best one day. You know what I mean? Just like,
Are we though? That's the problem.
well, okay. What do you mean?
I think that's like, you're the exception. We're the exceptions. Like, we wake up wanting to have the best day by doing the best things for everyone around us, for coming into work, enthusiastic about what we're doing, making sure we're giving our family everything.
Yeah.
Other people don't. They get up, go to work,
Yeah.
grab a Starbucks. Like, they aren't doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's explaining more of like your purpose and why, like, your why is so that.
Yeah. Because I think that the day-to-day really matters, like being mindful of the day-to-day, because, I was sharing this with Jenna earlier. Like, whenever things go bad or don't go the way that you want them to, I realize those are the days where you wish your day was extraordinary, like ordinary, like normal, right? When things go wrong, it's like, crap, how much I wish that I had a normal day, which to me makes normal days that much more special in like the bigger picture of how like things can go wrong. And I noticed this the first time, specifically we were talking about pets. Like sometimes, like sometimes when I need to walk Roscoe and I'm out of my routine, and I find it like a hassle to take him out for a walk because my schedule's off or whatever. So it's like, oh, okay, we gotta go on a walk. But the days where he's been like sick or where I thought I might lose him, I'm like, gosh, I really wish my only issue right now was to take you out on a walk. And it was the day to me where I had that light bulb, like, wow, ordinary days, like extraordinary days. Like we love them. Yeah, like the day to day. So I think for me, part of my purpose writing too is practicing mindfulness. Because when things go wrong, we want those days so bad, which is like, that makes them so much more special. So I should really enjoy every day, whether it is going to go get a Starbucks or, doing the mundane things. They're so special.
Yeah, I think that's perspective.
Yeah, they're so special.
Because you can see it like that. Like, it's so special. That first sip of my Starbucks coffee is like, and then you're ready to go. And you're going to have a call with someone that might be as intimidating, but you're learning from them, as opposed to saying like, I forgot to make my coffee today, so I got to go and get my Starbucks, and I'm going to stay as caffeinated as I can so I can jump on this call and finish it. Like, those are the same thing. two different perspectives.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the difference, is that you have a different perspective.
Because I think that from like, even with purpose, like sometimes we think, and everybody has a different purpose, but it's like, oh, it has to be this big extravagant thing, or my goals like travel, they have to look like this or whatever. But it's like, no, it doesn't. No. Like it really doesn't. Those are things that you should definitely be working towards, but not wasting your day or your time or your energy with negativity, thinking like, oh, they aren't that extravagant, or I am not traveling this place. Work towards it, but still enjoy and find purpose in the day to day, because you'll get there eventually if you do have those goals and you are working towards that. But every day counts. Every day counts. It's challenging though. I can't say that. Like, like I can't say that every day is like, oh yeah, I'm being mindful and like I'm enjoying this or that. No, it's hard. Yeah. But practicing it makes it easier and better to like get better at all of that.
There is this misconception that yogis are so peaceful and calm when we're actually like the craziest ones of them all. No, it's funny, but kind of true, because this is why we practice.
Yeah.
Right. So that we can stay sane or mindful in that way. And coming back to just like in the day to day and like coming back to the discipline part, I think that people have to find even just like the mundane practice of getting up, brushing your teeth, getting ready and all that stuff. Like for one, it's not always easy. Let's be real. Like, let's just like talk about being real. Some days are like much harder than others, in which like when I wake up, like for example, like on the weekend, like when I wake up, I'm like, okay, I got to get up, take a moment. Like I always have to marinate before I get up. Like I have a 10-minute marination process.
What sauce you marinating on?
And for me, cause I'll like sit there, I have my alarm on, for like 6:40 or something like that. And I'll get up at like 6:50.
Hold on, question. Do you guys have multiple alarms for one time?
I used to. I don't anymore.
I don't.
I used to.
Because snooze is a thing.
Yeah.
I know. Because it's 9 minutes.
Yeah. But this actually, is why my snooze is 9 minutes. Now that I'm thinking about it, but my
this
marination
is why I
feels
started
like 10.
sleeping with the window open, because the light,
the sun,
and not even the sun. There's the light before the sun fully rises.
Right.
That, and even this morning, like around 4 something, the moon was just beaming.
Oh my God, yes it was. It was weird. I went outside and it was huge, and then there was like clouds.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It looks like a fucking picture.
Yeah, and I love it because if I know my alarm is gonna go off, but I know that if the light can beat it to the alarm, it just makes waking up so much more. I don't know. It's easier. It's more natural. Yeah. It's like slow wake up.
It is.
Sorry, we talked.
No. I'm coming back to like the marination process.
Oh yeah, marinating.
In my marination process,
marination process.
I am now incorporating my meditation. I am not necessarily snoozing. I'm literally just laying there. Laying there, and I'm like thinking about my day and what I'm needing to do. And in that, starting with my gratitude list, like what I'm thankful for, and like the fact that I freaking can get up in the morning.
Yeah.
And then just thankful for my day, and then like envisioning what my day will look like. And so I even do this like right before I go to bed. So right before I go to bed, I'm like kind of mentally preparing like what I have to do for the next day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it sucks because I'm like laying there like thinking about getting almost very overwhelmed with what I need to do as far as my tasks go. And then I'm like, stop doing that. Just breathe. Just stop thinking, just breathe, and come back to just breathing. And then in the morning, doing kind of the same thing, marinating, and then getting up, and then finally like getting the work done. And so I think it's just like very important to establish a meditation practice, even though a lot of people are like, maybe on the, like, it could be 50-50. There's people that like have never ever done it in their lifetime, or like people that are like super well versed in it. And I kid you not, like even sometimes my meditation practice is hard, because even in the midst of meditating, there are moments in which I'm thinking about way too many things at once. And my mind literally goes, here. And I'm like, okay, just come back to breathing
for another 45 minutes because you're like, okay, stop talking to yourself.
Go to bed.
Tomorrow.
And then tomorrow. But I do find, again, passion, discipline, and purpose within that. Mm-hmm. So it's not always easy, and it's not always butterflies and pancakes. It's just
Chris says puppies and tall cans.
I love that. It's not always Raising Canes and,
Right.
I'm trying to figure out what mine will be. Raising Canes and walks on the beach.
And matcha.
And there has to be a lot of empathy towards yourself and forgiveness in that too.
Yeah.
Because not every day is going to be perfect.
Right.
Let's like you said, you're going to have your shit sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Some
I
days.
know. We have to trademark that.
Yeah.
Your shit sandwich and eating it.
But I think part of that discipline, even in showing up to meditation, whenever your brain is still doing that, you still build confidence in knowing that you did it.
Yeah.
Like even for the gym, I know that we started the whole accountability group, which was great. Mm-hmm. And the day that I did go,
you were like,
yes, I did. But I wasn't really feeling like going, especially like my body felt tired. But I showed up and
it was late. I was like, what the F?
Yeah. And I did my workout and I modified it, right?
Yeah.
Like I made sure that I did maybe like lighter weight, higher reps or whatever. And it's normally not like what I do, but just showing up was enough to remind my body and my brain, like, it doesn't matter what you think, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
And so the quality of it might have not been the best, like you're saying, not every day is gonna be good, but at least you're still training your brain and your mind to know, like, you still don't quit.
Yeah.
Well, and in my head, like, I've had other like accountability like buddies and whatnot for the gym, and they're just the same thing. Like, no one gets up in the morning and goes, fuck yeah, we're going to the gym, I'm ready to go. I love waking up way too early for this.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks that. Yeah. And so when I talk to someone, they're like, I just wasn't feeling it, but I made it. And I literally, every time I said, you beat everyone else that's still sleeping. You're beating everyone else that's on the couch and watching TV. Like,
You're
for me,
beating the old you that would lay in bed.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I feel like for those times I have to almost like brainwash myself. So I start watching people that I do admire on their fitness journey. So I'm like,
they would.
Yeah. And I had no,
like, I use it as inspiration.
I do. It's like, I don't want to go right now, but let me see what she's up to,
Yeah.
So there's a girl that I follow on YouTube and I love watching her. And after seeing that, I'm like, oh yeah. Like, you just remember, like, okay, this is why I'm doing it. So you have to do whatever you possibly can to feed yourself the motivation that you need.
Yeah.
To do
What's
the
that
things that you want to
discipline,
do.
right? Because again, no one's going to want to go, and it's not a habit you can actually create because there's times that you're not going to want to do it. Mm-hmm. Usually with habit, you don't even think about it, right? Mm-hmm. More times than not, way too early. We're going to Texas in a couple days, and we're going to get up hopefully around the exact same time that we usually wake up, right? And that's 2 hours behind what we're usually used to. So it's like, you're not going to want to do that. So what has to take that discipline? Like you said, like, it's about the discipline piece, because that's when you'll do it. That's when you'll say, oh, what are they doing? That's your habit, is going to see, like, what is that person doing? Because I want to do what they're doing. I want their body.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
Snaps.
One thing that you were talking about with meditation, when you're like thinking about all these different things. So there's a meditation on aura that it's literally the guy's talking to you and it's very nice. And Chris was like, who the fuck is that? But anyways, and of course we all think about all these millions of things. And he literally in the meditation says, okay, everything that you're thinking about right now, just put it in a suitcase, close the suitcase, and go put it away.
I love that.
Oh, okay. And so that helps me tremendously, is putting literally, like, I literally
mentally doing that.
Mentally picture me literally grabbing everything and like throwing it in there. And it's like, it'll be there in the morning. Like,
yeah.
Good.
I had a similar meditation with a group through Zoom, and hers was very similar to that, where she was like, okay, in your mind, like, you're in your house, and all of the thoughts that you're having, almost attribute them to items in your house that are just like laying around or like clothes.
Oh my God,
or whatever.
that's way better.
So go around, pick it up, and put it in the
Clean
laundry.
up your house.
Clean up your house and just leave it. it was such a great visualization.
That
I was
is
like, that
so
is so
good.
helpful.
Oh my God.
It was
love
so
that.
helpful. I loved it. So then afterwards is like, okay, it's clean, you know, and so you're able to just, meditate and have a different experience than allowing all that crap just flying around. Yeah.
I love that.
It's
I'm gonna
good.
use
Yeah.
that. Wow.
I really like it.
I fucking hate clothes.
Yeah, I know. Chris, wear your socks. Weren't you saying that before? It's like,
No, we had a whole thing where like I would clean and I'd put his dirty clothes in the hamper.
and then he would take it out.
And then he would take
right?
it out.
Yeah.
And then I would put it back in. And this was like I would go into the bathroom and then he'd come out and take it out. And then I'd come out.
Why
of the
would he
bathroom
do
and
that again?
Because if he doesn't see it, it doesn't like happen. So if he doesn't see his dirty clothes, he doesn't know he has to wash things. So that I can see it, so I can wash it. Is that? So,
Oh my goodness.
the whole thing, communication, man.
I know.
Gotta have it.
That is funny.
Perspective there too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, look at him, he's just dirty. It's like, no, I'm being clean in the sense that I know I need to clean this because
Yeah.
it's out there. That's hilarious.
I forgot about that. That is funny.
How does somebody find their purpose?
you guys.
How does someone find their purpose? Try a lot of different things.
But stay committed to these things.
Yes.
Don't jump
Yeah.
around.
But try things. Just try things, multiple things, and then stick with it for at least a year at each time. Right? Just stick with it. Because purpose will come.
Question though. Things like actual occupations or skills.
Maybe both.
Both.
Okay.
Yes.
But then we run into that issue where
Didn't help.
wait, what?
It doesn't help.
They're gonna be like, okay, both.
She just started the podcast by saying that she wasn't going to hire somebody because she tried multiple things.
Okay, let's scratch that.
No, I mean, and just expand on that, please.
But I get what you're saying because I think that these experiences, they give you clues, I would say. Like clues as to what it is that you like
You
and you
want to
enjoy. Yeah. So I
mean,
think being
I guess-
aware of that.
I guess for me, my advice would be there are going to be two different things because not that I'm thinking I'm escaping work or my occupation. I just feel like within other parts of my day, I have the ability to teach. So at least have something that sparks joy in your life outside of work. That's kind of like what I wanted to kind of talk about. Like, yes, you can do it in your occupation. You can find purpose in your occupation by being the best donut maker in all of the land, you know, like just be the best donut maker in all of the land. And then also like being able to on the side, being the best table maker on the side. I don't know. I'm just like
A lot of making.
there's a lot of things, you know, like all in all, like everything intertwines. I think everything does align in what you're doing. Just be finding ways and outlets to one, spark joy, one, being creative, because I think that they'll find purpose. You can find purpose in what you're doing day to day with those pieces.
Yeah.
For me, like, I just feel like in all aspects of my life, there is points or ways to be creative. And I think that's what truly gives me joy and purpose. What about you all?
Well, like I said, I think that it has a lot to do with being open and being aware, and just listening and paying attention to the clues that life gives you, or the clues of when you do find moments of joy. That's, to me, that's like a clue of like, oh, I really enjoyed this. I really like this. And you don't always have to do something right away with it, but just kind of tuck it away. Like if you are in a place where you're trying to figure out what your purpose is or your passion is, all of those moments of joy or things that you have found meaningful are clues that will eventually, I don't know, lead to the aha moment of, yeah, this is what I want to do or the route that I want to go. I think that that's helpful. But I think it requires you being open or aware of, I am in a space where I am trying to figure out what matters to me or what my purpose is. Because if you're not open to that or thinking about it, you're not really, you're going to dismiss those moments. You're just going to, which they're not bad. They're obviously moments that you're enjoying and, you're happy with and all of that. But I think that you have to be intentional about finding your purpose if that's what it is that you are trying to do. Like I remember my best friend really early on, she'd be like, yeah, so like, have you thought about like goals and your purpose? And she would always like, she knows that it would annoy me because I'm like, I don't know right now, you know, but even having that kind of friendship and having her too, and obviously our circle, you know, with you guys, and it's putting yourself in a position where it does challenge you to figure out like how, like what else do you want out of life? Like to be intentional about your life, your day to day. So I think that good people, like surrounding yourself with good people who do want more for themselves is also helpful because it's very inspirational to you. Like, okay. So I should be striving for more in life, or I should be trying new things. Because if you do stick around with the same group of people who don't have that kind of mentality, then you're gonna stay
complacent.
Yeah, you're gonna stay complacent. So be open, pay attention to the clues, and put yourself in a situation around people that do strive for more. And if there aren't people, and I would think like people in your life that are doing that, even online, like even YouTube people, you know, you can surround yourself and constantly feed your mind just a different way of thinking. Even if you don't personally know them, like have your set group of people that you're constantly like listening to and consuming their content because they are striving for more. And I think eventually you will get there. And in different phases of life, like they will bring they will just kind of move or route you differently, where you have to kind of go through that process again to almost like re-identify what your purpose is. And that's okay. Like it changes. It's completely fine, I think.
I love that.
Snaps. It is important though, your surroundings, because if someone else, let's say, you know, I didn't know you from the business, you were just one of my friends out in the out in the world. And I just was like, I had a hard day, and you know, I'm talking to you and you're like, well, maybe it's just not your purpose. Maybe it's, you know, if you're not passionate about it, maybe you should leave.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, and it's like you could literally like leave such a great opportunity just because of your surroundings, because you're listening to their influence. And I think,
oh man, I could talk about that too, because back when I started this business, I was dating this person who legit told me that this was a scam. Like he was like, oh yeah, that's a sales company. It's such a scam. Like they're bad people, da 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 da. I mean, you remember in that situation. Yes. Yes.
Hair?
No.
Kind of. Oh. Anyways, yeah, long story short. But yeah, and I was like, no, I think that they're really good people. But that I could have easily, if I was listening to him or trusted that person, like I could have easily just quit like a couple months later. But there was obviously something that was pulling me that was much bigger than just that day to day, right? So I feel like I saw the vision really, really early on when I started the business, and I didn't really care about what anyone thought. I'm sure my parents still have questions on what the fuck I do. Like, what do you do? Like, do you still just party with these people? Like, no. Like, we don't do that anymore.
Only on select occasions.
Only on select occasions. No more tequila, that's for sure.
Okay, that's you. Keep your negative thoughts to yourself.
Anyways.
Just kidding.
But I think I was going to ask a question that was stemming in regards to your thought process. And when you first started in the business, that was, I'm sure, still a very big and relevant topic where like people kept asking you why, like in the beginning. What do you think pulled or reeled you in regards to what you're currently doing now? Because I know that you've been working with Sabastian for multiple years.
Yeah.
Long time.
Well, I think Sabastian always did a really good job of vision casting, and he was always very clear about what part I played in that vision. Yeah. And even like I remember early on, even like the fun trips, like R&R, like, oh, we're going here. And he's like, yeah, when you go, or like when we do this with our company. So I think that he did a great job with that, like just vision casting and just letting me understand like what purpose I had with that, which for me was.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What happens if maybe someone is out there and doesn't have anybody like that? Mm-hmm. They're in the company, they've been there for maybe a couple of years, let's say, and they don't have anyone to show them, the bigger picture. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think it falls back to a lot of what we already mentioned, where, and I feel like I have a mentality where it's like, this is what the whole quote of like, bloom where you are planted, mm-hmm. Because if that is what you currently have in the moment, whether it is or it isn't where you want to be, that's where you're at. Like that's what you have to work with. Mm-hmm. And I always go back to the mentality of like, okay, this is what I have to work with. Then let's make magic until we get more resources or where we can move ourselves to a different position. So I would say at least start there. Like whatever occupation you have, just be the best at it. Like Molly was saying, be the best at it. And then pay attention to the clues of, is this what you want to do or not? And don't necessarily jump ship right away. Spend some time exploring and be smart about what it is that you are leaving behind, to your point from earlier, before you make those decisions. But again, it takes so much intentionality. Like you have to do the work to know, okay, this isn't necessarily where I want to be, but I can work towards where I want to go. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you have to have that internal motivation and that awareness. It's a lot of self-work, because if you don't have anybody else pushing you, and even if you did, the work still falls on you to do that. Mm-hmm. Because I was fortunate to have Sebastian there. But even with him casting vision like that, coming into a culture where everybody had a why, they had big goals, and I had just graduated college. For me, it was like, my big why right now is just to freaking get a job, and find something that's hopefully related to what I studied, which thank God, it was. And I felt like, I felt very lucky to be able to have the opportunity that I had, or that I have. But that was intimidating. And it was kind of relearning, like, okay, what is my purpose and what is my why? And I found that challenging for, really, really early on. But again, just doing your best to do what you are currently, where you're at, what you're currently doing. And then along the way, just paying attention to those things. Mm-hmm. So that would be my advice. Yeah. Which is, again, why it's important to surround yourself with all these other people. Do the work. Just do the work.
Do the work.
Yeah.